Thank you. Good Shabbos, everybody. Nice to have you all with us. Excuse us for the technical delay. That happens sometimes. Welcome. Welcome to our newcomers, visitors, guests, anyone who hasn't been here in a while, and welcome to everybody who's joining us online. We'll begin tonight for Kabbalat Shabbat on page 10. Page 10 in the red prayer books, the red Sidurim. They look like this. They say Lev Shalem on the front. How many of y'all, is this your first time here? First time here. 1, 2, 3, just a few. Good. So for you first-timers, I'll call it the pages and you can follow along. And the idea is to sing along. Jewish worship is not a spectator sport. It's a communal experience and a personal experience, and make some noise, even if you don't know the words at all. Sing la 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 along with what we're doing. Try to learn the melodies and express yourself through the words of the prayers. In that way you join together with us, all of us who are here tonight, and with Jews who lived in times before us and with the Jews who live in the future. Tefillah connects us, not just to God, but to one another. So let's sing and raise our voices tonight. Welcome, everybody. Eddie, I'm going to ask you a favor. Keep going. Page 10, we begin on page 10 in our red prayer books. Please sing along. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, meshochav decha el retzonecha ishtachaveh. Again, Yedid nefesh av harachaman. Thanks. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, meshochav decha el retzonecha ishtachaveh. you will. To the bottom of page 16. Bottom of page 16. The last 4 lines in the Hebrew and the last 4 lines in the red on the left-hand side, the red transliterations. Turn ahead again to page 20. Last 3 lines of the page on both sides of the page. Close your eyes for a moment. Take some deep breaths. To pray, you don't really need to know the words, okay? It helps, it's good. I mean, that we pray with words in traditional Jewish prayer. But to pray, you don't really need to know the words, but you do need to do a couple of things, and without doing those things, you are not praying. You're just here, which is fine, you can be here. But I'd prefer you to be here and to be praying. Prayer is a universal language. It's the expression of our heart and our spirit. It's not just the recitation of a specific set of words. So in order to pray, you have to do a couple of things. The first thing you have to do is you have to be present, and you have to be at ease. You have to let all of your other concerns slip away for a moment, even if they are serious ones. And to try to be simply present in this moment, not carrying too many things from previous or too many expectations about the future. The second thing you need to do, those of you who know me and my ways, you know the second thing you need to do is to breathe deeply. So many people forget how to breathe deeply and to fill their body with breath. This is the core spiritual experience. There is nothing more fundamental than our breath. So breathe deeply and easily tonight. The other thing you must do is you must sing. You must make some noise and some sound. You must vibrate your own body and become a part of what we are doing. It's not enough to just listen. So whatever it is, whatever sound that you make that sound with a deep breath and with the presence of mind and spirit. Bottom of page 20. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Let's pick the bass up. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu eishtachavu lehar kodsho. Adonai Eloheinu ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ya la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Turn ahead to page 23. I'd like to do the Lecha Dodi a little bit differently tonight, to focus on just 3 of the 9 paragraphs that we sing. We'll sing the first one, Shamor, at the top of 23. We'll sing the middle one, Hit Oreri, to wake up and to arouse ourselves, and to enlighten ourselves, in the middle of 24. And we'll sing the final one, on page 25, Bo'i B'Shalom. When we sing Bo'i B'Shalom, we stand up, we rise, and we turn towards any of the entrances in the synagogue to welcome the Sabbath as the Sabbath joins us. On page 23. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Tishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'letilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekavela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, hitoreri. Ki ba'orech tovi ori, 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 shir dabeiri. Kevod Adonai alaich nigla. Lecha likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekavela. lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela boi b'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzala toch emunei segula boi kala lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. Page 29. In the middle of the page at the red triangle. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Leave your concerns behind and focus and clarify your thinking. Mikol Ma'im Rabim Adirim Mishperei Yam Adir Bamarom Adonai Eidotecha Mourners and those observing Yortzeit stand for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 30. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lomei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru, amen. Shabbat shalom. Welcome to our guests, to our visitors, to everybody who's here with us tonight. Again, welcome to those who are joining us remotely and online tonight. Over the next several weeks in synagogue, we will read passages from the book of Leviticus. In the Jewish tradition, the book of Leviticus is known as sort of the priest's Torah, the priestly code, because it addresses a wide range of the rules that govern the priesthood in ancient Israel. It's also considered the Holiness code. It's the part of the Torah that talks about what it means to be kadosh, holy. So I want to reflect for a couple of moments about what it means to be holy, and to suggest that in some ways, being holy is the entirety of the Jewish venture. What are we supposed to be? Can you sum it up in one word? Yeah, you're supposed to be holy. We're supposed to be a nation of holy people. Mamlechet Kohanim, a whole kingdom of priests. And since the priests are the primary focus of Leviticus, to some extent we're supposed to reflect on how, whether we're priestly or the descendants of Aaron and Moses or not, we are charged in some way to be holy. Now, holy is one of those words. It's a word like God, where everybody thinks they know what it means, and everybody thinks that everybody else thinks that it means the same thing as what they think it means, but that actually means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So, what is holiness Jewishly? If we're supposed to be holy, how? How do we do that? And what does it even mean? I want to suggest two different ways of thinking about it that ultimately are really connected to each other. One way is kind of simple and maybe arguably simplistic. And that is that the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, suggests that to be holy means to observe the commandments of God. God tells us to do a wide range of things. To be holy means to observe the mitzvot, the commandments. If you observe all the commandments, if you live that way and follow all the commandments as best you can, presumably you will be living a holy life. That view of holiness externalizes it. It puts holiness somehow outside of us and suggests that what we have to do to be holy is to, as simple as it sounds, to live a holy life in our actions. Holiness is not an ethereal state of being like angels or something like that. Holiness means to be righteous, to be disciplined, to be worshipful, to be committed to God and to God's ways. If you do that, you will be holy. Very simple, really. But when the Torah commands us to be holy, it tells us, Kedoshim tihiyu, be holy, because ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohecha. You are supposed to be holy because I, God, am holy. Well, God does not follow the commandments. Right? God doesn't eat, so God doesn't have to keep kosher. God doesn't have to give tithes to the priests. God doesn't have to love your neighbor as yourself, or honor the Sabbath, or your parents. Holiness is not externalized in this way of thinking. We have to be holy because we are a reflection of, an image of divine holiness. In that way of thinking about it, holiness is not linked to how we live or how our behavior is or what we do in any way. Holiness is inherent. It's assumed. We already are holy. And the commandment is to live in the light and the knowledge of that holiness. The Jewish way is to suggest that through our actions, through the mitzvot, through the way we live, the choices we make, and the things we do, we come to discover and realize that we are holy. We live a holy life so that we might recognize that we already are holy, and that the purpose of mitzvot, of Jewish tradition, of living in that kind of way is not to enact holiness, but to discover it within and to nourish it so that we might be holy. There's no holier time in the Jewish experience than the Shabbat and the Sabbath. When creation is complete and when all is at rest and when we're asked to reflect on the world as perfect. So with that in mind, I'd ask you to please stand. Page 39, as we prepare for the evening service, we begin with the Baruch Hu on page 39. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. You can be seated. Baruch Atah Adonai. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ולילה לעיני צבאות, שמו אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים, אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. Page 40. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו והם נגע יומם בלילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Together, page 41. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue quietly, page 42. page 44. Malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam. Together, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lo tosef lemalchutecha ra'u banecha. Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe zelianu ve'amru Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai gal Yisrael. 45 Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Aleinu. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Amideinu Malkeinu Lechayim Ushmo Tzedenu Lechayim Shalom Yadam Yadalam Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha baruch ata Adonai hapore sukat shalom aleinu me'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We stand page 46. Ve'shameru bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. After the Kaddish on page 46, the Amidah, the evening prayer, it begins on page 47, said quietly through page 52. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrei chirutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayeichon u'v'yomeichon u'chayei chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach Le'olam le'olmei olmaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach Yitbarach Yitbarach V'naseh V'yithadar V'yit'aleh V'yithalal Shmei dekudesha Brichu le'ela Min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen. 47 through 52 quietly. If you have not finished the Amidah, you can do so. Turn ahead to page 53 at the top of the page. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, האל עליון, קונה שמיים וארץ. מגן אבות בדברו, מחיים מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו. כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ברב הפחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מהון הברכות. אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי, ומניח בקדושה לימדו שני עונג. זכר למעשה וראשית. 54. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן לחלקנו בתורתך. סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, ותאר ליבנו לעובדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה ורצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בה ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ביום יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יכולנו ומכונו חי לכו בישראל, בגלה וזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח בבר ונאמן ונעשה, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלעות הון ובנות לכל ישראל, כדמון בשמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ברממיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. Amen. Page 55 for the Kiddush. I say Savri, and you say L'chaim. Okay, nice and loud. Savri. Nice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu. זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. עלינו עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית. לא עשנו גויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לבני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. You can be seated. No, it's not that we don't do it on Shabbat. It's that we don't do it before it's nighttime.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really dark time yet, but we can announce the day. We don't count the Omer until the nighttime really comes, and since it's still the daytime, we don't do that quite yet. But we will be counting yesterday was day 27. I'll say it that way. Yesterday was 27, so you know what day to count after you're home tonight at night. This week, there's a couple of announcements. Let me make some announcements, because it's actually kind of like an interesting weekend this weekend. First of all, again, welcome to everybody who's joining us. Stick around, don't run away. We'll talk a little bit, and great to have you here. Thanks for coming. Tomorrow is our first ever joint confirmation service with Temple Emmanuel down the street. I think this is a big deal, okay? I don't know if everybody else thinks it's a big deal, but I think it's a big deal. It's going to actually be a really wonderful service tomorrow, so I hope everyone will come. But aside from that, probably for the first time in like 100 years, Temple Emmanuel is not going to hold services tomorrow morning. Okay? They're going to be here. That's pretty remarkable. We're going to join together. And next year, when it's confirmation time, on the same Sabbath, we're not going to hold services. And we're going to go and join them. Yeah, I know. Everybody's like, oh, well, sure, they can come here, but us go there. No, it's going to be that way. And once a year, the two synagogues on this street are going to worship together in order to celebrate their confirmation class. And that's tomorrow morning. It's really I don't know if it's historic, it's not like the War of 1812 or anything, but nonetheless, it's a pretty remarkable accomplishment. And this year of study, these kids have studied together, community-wide, outside of institutional borders, and something good and important has begun this year. So let's celebrate it tomorrow, okay? Come to synagogue tomorrow. Even if it's not your way, come tomorrow. And be prepared for something a little different, okay? If you're expecting a regular Sabbath morning service, don't come, because it isn't going to be that, okay? It's going to be something different and really wonderful. Okay. Friday, May 20th, that's next Friday, Bethel will host a family-friendly Lag BaOmer Kabbalat Shabbat service, s'mores, dinners, crafts, etc. RSVPs are requested to Margaret by Monday so we can be sure to have enough food for everybody. And then on Saturday, May 21st is our volunteer recognition Shabbat. We're recognizing a number of important volunteers and saying thank you to them, including Bernard Stern, Karen Halpern, and Aaron Walsh, some of whom are here tonight. So thank them and come next week so we can recognize our really exceptional volunteers and honor them. There will be a Kiddush luncheon next week, and tributes are due no later than Sunday, May 15th. There's two important events, both on June 4th. One is the Social Action Committee has a special Shabbat that week, themed Opening Our Doors. We have special honorees and speakers. We're talking about welcoming guests and immigrants and others and opening our doors. We have a pierogi and borscht Kiddush luncheon. I mean, if that doesn't bring you in, I don't know what does. Then come back that evening for our Shavuot program. There's a really wonderful program of learning that Saturday evening. There'll be snacks, cocktails, Havdalah, and all kinds of good stuff. Finally, don't forget, this Sunday is the Birmingham Jewish Food Festival and happening at the JCC. It starts at 11 o'clock. We'll have a booth there. Everybody should come by. We'll be set up with games and lots of swag to hand out. So come by Sunday morning at the JCC for the Jewish Food Festival. And please get on our email list and check out our calendar on our webpage for all of the upcoming events. Okay. Lastly, this week we mark Yortzites, the anniversaries for Joe Axel, Sam Bank, David Beal, Brinna Binderman, Rudy Blatt, Francis Cohen, Selma Cohen, Victor Cohen, Thelma Colton, David Kornblum, Clara Davis, Tekla Dreyfus, Hyman Fishman, Arthur Harold Froman, Ethel Gayer, Max Goldberg, Fanny Goldman, Sylvia Gauss, Max Green, Bess Rosenthal Hirschman, Sarah Ruth Bradford Horn, Ida Itzkow, Abraham Kessler, Sophie Cause, Abraham Kravitz, James Leibovitz, Sam Leaf, Manuel Lean, Louis Levy, Herbert Bernard Lewitt, Jerome Ludsky, Ann Lux, Alvin Mazel, Patty Mandel, George Markowitz, Max Matlick, Sadie Michelson, Rabbi Raphael Ostrovsky, Helen Ostrovsky, Sophie Padower, Marion Perel, Legia Roskovsky, Fred Reed, Audrey Rich, Fanny Royal, Rebecca Scurry, Morris Scher, Marion Lefkowitz Siegel, Rebecca Silverman, Helene Silverstein, and Leon Skirko. Tehei nishmotam tzurot b'tzura chayim. We pray their souls be bound up in the bonds of life everlasting, and that their memories be a blessing. Those observing Yortzeit and mourners stand for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 58. Together, Yitgadal v'Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirutei, ve'amlich malchutei, b'chaye chon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lomei olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudsha brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Come again tomorrow morning, and Shabbat shalom. stream. Likewise, John.
Are we supposed to ask it things to the middle?